Welcome to Free Coding Academy's videos on Python. This is part 9, modifying lists. So first up, how do you create a list? So here's an example. Nums equals, and then inside square brackets, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a list called nums that contains integers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So next, how do you add or remove elements from this list? So if you include the statement list name dot append and then some element inside parentheses, this is going to add the element to the end of the list. So let's say we wanted to add the number 6 to this list. Then we would include the statement nums dot append and then 6 inside parentheses. Next, list name dot remove and then some element inside parentheses removes the element specified inside parentheses. So let's say we wanted to remove 4 from this list. So we're going to include the statement nums.remove 4, and so that's going to remove 4. Now, let's say we wanted to remove the last element. So if we have listName.pop, this removes the last element from the list. So if we wanted to remove 5, then we would include the statement nums.pop. Next, going through lists. So you can go through a list by using a for loop in 2 methods. So method number 1. So we have the list we defined earlier. Next, for num in nums, print num. So this is going to first create a variable called num, and then we're telling it to loop through every single element in the list nums, and then we're telling it to print that element. So this is going to print 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, we have method 2. So again, we have that list. Next, we're saying for x in range 0, len nums, print x. So here, we're creating a variable, again, this one's called x, and then we're saying in the range 0 to len nums, so the length of the list nums is going to be 5, because there's 5 elements, but we know that when we're using the range function, the first index is inclusive and the last index is non-inclusive. Therefore, it's going to take the elements from the index 0 all the way up to index 5 exclusive. So therefore, it's going to go through all of these elements. So, and then we're saying print x. So we're saying to, again, loop through all the elements in this list and then print them. So this is also going to print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next up, sorting lists. So sorting refers to putting elements in ascending or descending order, which makes sense. So numbers can be ordered by their value, and letters can be ordered alphabetically. So if you include a statement that says list name, some list name, dot sort, this sorts the elements in the list in ascending order. If they are strings and letters, they will be sorted based on the ASCII alphabet. Next, if you include list name dot reverse, this reverses the order of elements in a list. So here's an example. So we have numbers, a list called numbers, and it contains the elements 100, 34, 56, and 49, which are all integers. Next, we're including the statement numbers.sort, and then print numbers. So this is going to output 34, well, inside square brackets, 34, 49, 56, 100. So as you can see, it sorted all the elements in that list in order. So here's another example. We have a list called colors, and it contains strings, which are colors. So red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. So if we include the statement colors.reverse and then print colors, it's just going to reverse the order of all the elements. So it's going to print blue, green, yellow, orange, and red separated by commas inside square brackets to represent the fact that it is a list. Next up, we have some more functions for lists. So first, we have max, which takes the list name and returns the largest element in the list. Next, we have min, which also takes the list and returns the smallest element in the list. Then we have sum, which takes the list and sums the elements, which must be numbers in a list, and returns the sum. Finally, we have listName.copy, which creates a copy of the list. So for all of these, mostly you can create a variable and then set that variable equal to, for instance, max, and then input the list name. And so that is going to store the maximum value in that variable. And so here, these are some examples to illustrate these concepts. So first up, we have a list called numbers that contains the integers 100, 34, 56, 49, and -3. So first, we're inputting the statement print max numbers. So this is going to output 100 because 100 is the biggest number in this list. Next, we're saying print min numbers. This is going to output -3 because -3 is the smallest number in this list. Then we're saying print sum numbers, and this is going to output 236 because if you add up all these numbers together, you're going to get 236. Next, we have an example where you have a list called letters containing different strings that are letters. So we have capital A, lowercase a, capital B, and capital C. So first we're saying print max letters, and this is going to output lowercase a. And that's because according to the ASCII alphabet, capital letters come before lowercase letters. Therefore, the ASCII value for a lowercase a is going to be greater than the ASCII value of an uppercase a, as well as all the uppercase letters. Therefore, the maximum value in this list is going to be lowercase a, because all the other strings contain only capital letters. So print min letters is going to output the capital A because according to the ASCII alphabet system, as we just discussed, lowercase letters come after capital letters. And so in the section that contains the capital letters, you go in the order of the alphabet, so A, B, C, so forth. So A comes first, therefore it's going to be the minimum value. Next, we have nums is equal to numbers.copy. So here we're creating a variable called nums, and that is going to store a copy of the list called numbers. Next, we're saying print nums. So this is just going to output the list, the copy of the list. So 100, 34, 56, 49, and -3. Next, we have nested lists. So since lists can contain any data type and the same list can contain elements of several data types, lists can be elements of other lists. So you're going to have a nested list. Nested lists is when a list contains one or more lists as elements. So here's an example. It's called wacky list is equal to, and you have a list that contains two lists within it and also an integer. So here the elements at index 0 and index 1 are lists within the list called wacky list. Next up, going through nested lists. So nested loops can be used to loop through the elements in a nested list. So the outer for loop is used to go through the rows, whereas the inner for loop is used to go through the columns. Next up, creating lists using list comprehensions. So this is the normal method, and then this is the list comprehension method, which is a shortcut. So first, the normal method. So we have a list called multiples of 2 list, and we're just creating an empty list here. And then we're saying for x in range 5, multiples of 2 list dot append x times 2. So here what we're saying is in range 5, so this is automatically going to assume that you're starting at index 0. So from index 0 all the way to index 5 exclusive. So it's going to include 0, index 0, and it's not going to include index 5. So you're going to have 5 numbers total in your list, and each of them are going to be x times 2. So you're going to have 0 times 2, 1 times 2, 2 times 2, all the way to 4. Right? And then this is the list comprehension method, which is the shortcut. So we have multiples of 2 list is equal to, and then in square brackets, x times 2 for x in range 5. So if you can see, there are many similarities between these two. They look very similar. So here you're saying that for this list called multiples of 2 list, it's equal to x times 2, this variable x times 2, for x in the range 5. So again, this is from 0 inclusive all the way to 5 exclusive. So again, you're just going to do 0 times 2 and store that as the first element, and then 1 times 2, store that as the second element, all the way through 4 times 2 equals 8, store it in the list as an element. So a condition can be added to a list comprehension so that only elements which meet a certain condition are added to the list, which is not being done in this example, but it is being done here. So here, even multiples of 3 list. So here we have in square brackets x times 3 for x in range 20. So this is saying from 0 all the way to 20 exclusive. So 0 inclusive, 20 exclusive. If x times 3 mod 2 equals 0. So you're trying to get multiples of 3 because you're going from 0 all the way to 19, multiplying each by 3. But you're only going to store it in this list if when you multiply it by 3, it's divisible by 2, so you get a remainder when you get a remainder of 0 when you divide by 2. therefore it's even, right? So this list contains only even multiples of 3 from 0 through 20. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and please be sure to remember to watch part 10 next.